Hi, my name is Mark Whitney, and this is my author narrative on Anne Petry. So she was born on October 12th, 1908, in Old Saybrook, Connecticut. Um, she lived in a predominantly white community, and so obviously her parents did their best to shield from any racial controversy that was happening at the time. Um, so um, she was born with the name Anne Lane, um, and she was the fourth child of four. Her parents seemed to be pretty successful. Her dad was a pharmacist, her mom was a hairdresser, and owned a shop, and did a couple other things. And so this hard work seemed to be passed down to her and her sisters. Like her sisters were maids, she used to work in a factory. Um, and so it seems like they really practiced um, like studying and keeping like ambitious and stuff like that. Um, so as she got older, the family kind of convinced her to join the business of pharmacy. So she got her PhD in pharmacy in Connecticut. Um, but she later found out that her true passion was writing. So here and there, she would write short stories, and she would insert them into small papers, um, and things of that. And one of the magazines that she submitted to her short stories in was the. Um, so the Crisis was, interesting enough, founded by W.E.B. Du Bois. So I thought that was just kind of cool because um, we talked about him in class. Um, and then so she'd been kind of doing that for a while, and then on February 22nd, 1938, she married to George D. Petry, and that's how we know the name Anne Petry because of her husband. Um, and so just a little bit after that, she wrote her most famous novel, which was The Street, which was a social commentary about a mother and a daughter who the mother tries to provide the daughter financially, but she is a black woman, which at the time she was all odds were against her. Um, and so the book is just about her and her struggles, um, trying to financially upkeep um, her daughter. Um, so and at this that kind of reminds me a lot of The Pursuit of Happiness, um, the movie. I don't know. It was just kind of a side thought. I thought it was kind of interesting. So in the 40s, she moved back to Connecticut to write more children's book or other short stories that she made. Like a couple were Country Place and The Narrows. Um, and then she eventually died in April of 1997 due to an illness just right outside Old Saybrook, Connecticut, which was pretty sad. Um, so, lastly, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the assigned reading that we have for the class. I thought this was very interesting. It's called I think it was called like the social criticism or something like that. So basically, all she talked about was culture, art, other writing forms, and how they kind of come about, and then she kind of comments on like her opinions about those. And so I kind of pulled a few quotes from them that I kind of liked when I was reading it. And so the first thing that she talked about was she was talking about the Grapes of Wrath, and she was saying that a book like that will be read through like ages, just because of how interesting the characters are, and how this guy Tom's journey is like so fulfilled with emotion and struggles, and people like reading that. And so her quote was, "In my personal opinions, that novel of this type will continue to be written until such time as man loses his ability to read and returns to the cave." So basically, until like we've we've gone back to our caveman tendencies, I guess is what she's trying to say. meaning that books like these will be continuously written, and I don't think anybody will ever get bored of these books. So the next quote that I pulled was um, um, being a product of the 20th century. This is her talking. Being the product of the 20th century, meaning Hitler, the atomic bomb, Hiroshima. I find it difficult to subscribe to the idea that art exists for art's sake. It seems to me that all truly great art is propaganda, whether it's the Sistine Chapel or War and Peace. And after I read that, I was like, it was kind of shocking, because I was like, wow, that's kind of true. Just because all emotion and passion can be driven from some sort of thing that's happening at the time, like the Sistine Chapel or War and Peace. And then so the last quote that I wanted to talk about was, I've collected enough rejection slips for my short stories. She was talking about her how, like, her early years as when she was writing her short stories and submitting them into magazines. I've collected enough rejection slips for my short stories to paper 4 or 5 good-sized rooms. Meaning she just kept getting rejected and rejected and rejected. And so obviously, again, being a black woman, she had many odds against her, but she didn't give up, and that's one thing that I really liked about her. She didn't give up, and she persisted, and she's become this great author in history. And even though she did get rejected, she eventually got her like shine of light, which kind of set her career in motion, which is awesome. But yeah, thanks for listening. Oh, and sorry, last thing. This is my references. Thank you.